Getting ready for the PMP exam? Look, we all know it's a beast, but what if you could actually crack the code before you even start hitting the books? In this breakdown, we're not just looking at the exam, we are building the blueprint to beat it.
So let's kick things off by busting a huge myth right away. A lot of people walk in thinking the PMP exam is just a test of what's in the PMBOK guide. Honestly, if that's your only strategy, you're setting yourself up for a really rough surprise. The real exam is so much more than that, and we're about to see exactly why.
Okay, to build any good strategy, you have to know the rules of the game first, right? So let's break this whole exam down by the numbers. This way, you'll know exactly what you're walking into on test day.
First up, the big, scary number. You are going to be facing 200 multiple choice questions.
And how long do you have? You've got exactly 4 hours on the clock to get through all of them. Do the math. That's just 72 seconds per question. So pacing isn't just important, it is absolutely everything. But here is the first major strategic twist you need to know about. Of those 200 questions, only 175 of them actually count towards your final score. The other 25? Well, they're experimental, pretest questions, and you'll have no idea which ones are which. Now, why is it so important? Because it's a huge mental advantage for you. If you hit a question that just feels totally impossible or from left field, do not panic. Don't let it wreck your confidence or waste your time. It could very well be one of those unscored questions. The best thing you can do is make an educated guess, flag it just in case, and keep your momentum going. So what's the magic number to pass? Well, PMI doesn't publish an official score, but the general consensus in the prep community is that you need to be aiming for around 68%. That translates to about 120 correct answers out of those 175 scored questions. It's a high bar for sure, but it's totally achievable if you focus on the right things. All right, so knowing the format is step 1. Step 2 is knowing where to aim all that study energy. And for that, we need to look at the official PMP examination content outline, or the ECO. Seriously, think of this as the treasure map for the entire exam. So the ECO breaks the exam down into 3 big areas. First, you've got process. That's all the technical stuff, the nuts and bolts of managing projects, and it's a whopping 50% of your score. Next is people, all about leading your team, and that's another huge chunk at 42%. The final 8% is business environment. Now, the key takeaway here is just massive. 92% of your entire exam score comes from just 2 domains, process and people. That is where you need to live and breathe during your studies. Now we're getting to the most critical part of this whole breakdown. Look, you can know all the content in the world, but if you don't understand how the exam asks questions, you are going to struggle. We need to get inside the mind of the test itself. We have to learn how it thinks. Let's be super clear. This exam is not a test of pure memorization. It is a rigorous test of your ability to apply your project management knowledge in real-world situations. It's all about analysis. It wants to see you break down a scenario and figure out the best possible course of action, not just spit back a definition you learned. So get ready for long situational questions. They're going to give you these detailed project scenarios, often packed with extra info just to distract you, and then they'll ask something like, what should the project manager do next? Your job, your mission, is to slice through all that noise, find the real problem, and pinpoint the exact project management principle they're testing. And here's what makes it so tough. Don't just take my word for it. This is straight from one of the most trusted prep guides out there. You are constantly going to face questions where 2, 3, or even all 4 answer choices seem kind of right. The trick isn't finding a right answer. It's about finding the most correct answer according to the PMI framework. What is the absolute first thing you should do? What is the best next step? And here's a pro tip for you. The exam loves to throw in completely made-up terms as answer choices. They're just distractors to see if you're really on your game. For instance, you might see an option like the operational diagramming method. If you've never, ever heard of it during your studies, chances are it's fake. Just ignore it and stick to the official terms you know. Now, while most of the questions are situational, you can't escape the math. Expect about 5 to 10 questions that are straight-up formula calculations, and you absolutely have to master earned value management, the formulas for tracking project performance. That could be 10 to 15 questions right there. Also be ready for project selection math, like calculating present value to compare which project is more profitable. You need to know these formulas cold. No excuses.
Okay, so we know the format, the content breakdown, and the question style. With all of that in mind, where should you really focus your valuable study time? Let's zero in on the areas where candidates, year after year, seem to have the most trouble.
These 5 areas right here, this is where people tend to stumble. You've got to master the core project management processes. That's your foundation. But from there, procurement, risk, and quality are consistently tough. And especially integration management. That's a big one because it forces you to connect all the dots from across the entire project. My advice? Put some extra time and effort right here. So let's bring this all together. What's the most crucial point? It's this. The PMP exam isn't your typical final exam. It's more like a strategic simulation. It's testing your judgment, your analysis, your decision-making under pressure, not just your ability to recall facts. Your success really depends on how you think, not just on what you know. And there you have it, the numbers, the content breakdown, and the mindset you need to adopt. The PMP exam isn't just a test of knowledge, it's a test of strategy. So now that you have the blueprint, the real question is, are you ready to master it?